Ele tá no microfone.
Can you listen to me now?
Sim, agora seu microfone estava.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's start everything again. I would like to thank Claudia Leite to be with us here at this night. She was the winner of the first edition of Scholars in Medical Innovation in 2020. She has a project about mammography, and I would like to invite Claudia to share with us her knowledge, her pitch before, and after the pitch, we will have some discussions. So we suggest you type in the chat. We have Sarah that will help us with the questions, and maybe we can do it very interactive, and we can discuss a lot all the pathways, how Claudia did the course in Scholars Medical Innovation after the pre-acceleration modules and courses, and what she's doing right now. So, Claudia, again, this is a pleasure to have you here with us. Please, you have the microphone. Thank you very much.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here talking to you. And as we are not very in a hurry, I'm not going to do an elevator pitch. I'm going to do my pitch without running a lot. Let's see. Oh.
Did you find in the bottom the share?
Yes. I don't know. Oh, okay. I just need to find why he doesn't put my pitch here.
Let me see. Claudia, maybe it's here. Oops. We are having some technical issues, no big deal. I believe Claudia is connecting again. Let me try to contact Claudia again. At this moment, I just want to remember you first to thank you to be here, and about the course that we will have. It will start on September 14th. All of you are invited to discuss more about innovation. And here we have Claudia again. Hello, Claudia, you are here with us.
I'm still having problem because, let's see. Can you see my screen? No.
Not yet. When you click on share, what happens? Like share screen. You have share and share screen.
Yeah, share screen, and then
share screen. Like I'm trying to. Then you can choose entire screen. Did it work?
No. Do you think I can send you the pitch?
Yes, sure.
Yes. It will take a little bit more. Sorry.
Yes, I can. I wait for your pitch, then I can project it here. Am I able to share screen? And then I can select, for example, yes, I can see here, for example.
Yeah, I only can see the
Stop
share. I sent to you by email the pitch.
Okay, just a moment. Which email did you send, Claudia?
The one, just one second.
Okay, I just saw it. It's arrived.
I think something about the configuration here. I don't know.
Great. Great. It's with me here. So I will share. Just a moment. Let's try to do that. Share screen. Window. Let's do that. Okay. Can you see,
Yeah.
Claudia?
Yes.
Great. Oops. Yeah, maybe we can do like that, because then I can go for the platform, and then I can alter here if necessary. Okay, Claudia.
Let's begin. I'm going to present Regina. Regina is a 73 years old lady, and she lost two sisters with breast cancer. Every year she goes to a clinic to do her mammography screening. Yesterday she was so stressed out because she received a call to repeat her mammography. Next. You can put the next, Thiago. Okay. What happened is that when a patient is called to repeat a mammography, as a mammography is an examination for screening for cancer, they became very stressful. On the other hand, the clinic and the hospital, they lose money because they have to repeat to get another slot to repeat the exam. We did a research, and up to 30% of the recalls of patients in mammography are due to malpositioning. Our solution, next, is called Accurate Mammo. It's a solution that will be linked to the mammography. And when the technician does the examination, he will receive a message if the exam is adequate or inadequate. If it is inadequate, in the same moment, he will repeat the exam, and it's not going to be necessary to recall the patient later on. Next. Next, Tiago. Well, this is a mammography examination for someone that never saw it before. Usually we does that in two positions. And here is the segmentation that we did. In each segmentation, we marked some anatomical landmarks. And we separate 500 images. We did the segmentation, the training of our solution, and now we are going to do the validation with 4,000 more examinations. The first results were very good in detection of the good or bad positioning. And now we are on this phase of increasing to validate our prototype. Next. We study also the market and try to see which is going to be the best business model for us. We studied in the city of São Paulo, we have around 350 clinics and hospitals that have a mammography. In the state of São Paulo, we have around 12,000 clinics and hospitals that have mammography. And in the country, we have 5,500 clinics, more or less. And in this counting, we consider that each clinic or hospital has only one equipment. But if they have more than one equipment, they will have to buy more than one license. And then we thought about a business model of service as a software. Next. This is the savings. If we thought about only the city of São Paulo, it was going to be 1.7 thousand a month. For the state, 6.2 thousand, and for the country, 28,000 reais for as economy. This considering 5,000 reais each month for each mammography equipment. For you to have an idea, it's going to be like $1,000 for equipment for a month. Next. There isn't any competition in the market. We studied this. Most of the solutions that they have for mammography, they are focused on the diagnosis and not in quality control. And then there is nothing similar on the market. And next. And this is we have a very heterogeneous team. We have engineers and a physics. We have radiologists. One of them is a specialist in mammography, and we have an oncologist in our group. And then this is our solution. Thank you for your attention. I can hear you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Maybe it was a 5-minute speech. We know that.
It was not an elevator pitch, for sure.
Yes, for sure. We are used to have to speak really fast.
Yes, yes.
Probably this is one of the messages that we have here, is that sometimes you are in a kind of competition, in a pitch exercise, and you have to say in 1 minute, as in 1 minute as pitch elevator, for example, or maybe you have 3 minutes. So it's really, really fast. Okay, Claudia, I have here one question for you, and I believe it's very, very important. You told about the team, that was an heterogeneous team with engineering, everything else. I would like to, if you can tell us a little more about your team, who were these people, the expertises, and what's the importance of that team? How do you interact, and how was it important for the final process for you to reach your results?
Yeah, especially the mammography radiologist, he was the one that had the idea, because this is a pain that he can see every day on his work, because when a patient has to come back, it's always stressful. It's always bad for the clinic and the hospital, and that makes everybody unhappy. And then he had the idea, and he was the one that began the segmentation with one of our ex-residents. Now he is not a resident anymore. They did the segmentation of the images in the beginning. After that, they teach us, and now we can help him on doing this, as we want a bigger number. The engineers, they are 3, a professor of the School of Engineer of our university, and 2 postgraduate students, and they are developing the algorithm. They are doing the algorithm and testing all the mathematics and doing the mathematical phase of the process. Our physics it is very important, because we have to be, the mammography is linked to the PACS and RIS system of the hospital. And we have to be able to enter the equipment or the packs to give this information for the technician. We have to give back the information to the technician a real time, or at least few minutes, to be able to be useful. If not, they are going to lose time in the same way. And then he's in charge of this connection between the equipment and how we are going to get back the answer to the technician. We have been working even though we are multidisciplinary from different origins, we have been working very well together. It's very rich to have these different specialities.
Great, great, Claudia. And what is interesting that you are saying, you have one complements the other. Like you have a physician, you have the engineering, you have someone to program. So if you were all physicians, probably you will not connect one to another and we will not go further. So you have to complement. So probably this is the best way that you have to start something together, right?
But on the other hand, as we develop the project and we are simultaneous improving the prototype and trying to develop the business, we see that we need someone from marketing, someone that understands the market itself, not only the marketing. We can see clear that we need more people, more multidisciplinary team than we had in the beginning.
Great. Yes, and this is the other question. For example, now you are talking about the market. What was the mechanism, maybe a pre-acceleration program, how you were introduced to the market, to the investors? How did it happen for you, Claudia?
Yeah, the first, I'm a researcher and a doctor. I don't know anything about marketing, about entrepreneurship, and I have been learning about that. The first course that I did was SMI, and then I learned a lot. It's like when you begin medicine, you have to learn a new nomenclature, new words, new concepts. And then we begin we are like in the beginning, no, we are going to do this only on the research. And suddenly we realized that we were able also to maybe make this as a product. In the beginning, when I began the course, I didn't believe in that. And then I was changing my idea, and now I believe we can do that. The first thing that we did a pitch on the end of the course. We already had some people from different enterprises, from different backgrounds that evaluate the pitch. And because of that, one person from the university, from our innovation center at the university, told me, no, you need to go to a press accelerator training. You have to go further on studying this to see if it's possible. And then we were selected for a press accelerator course that just finished in July. And we review a lot of the concepts that we learned on the first course, and we learned new ones. And again, we were able to present our pitch for different people in the middle of the course and in the end of the course. And with this, we got some proposals to be financed. That's going to be very important to make the project faster than we have now.
Oh, great, great. Yes, as you say, you have contacts. This kind of pre-acceleration programs contacts you with the specialists, with the investors, with some managers, and then together you can think in a better solution.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice. And Claudia, can you tell us, or is it a kind of secret, who are your investors, or about the...
Not now.
Okay, not
don't know if
right
one
now.
knows about the other.
Yeah. Of course, and it's good that you don't have only one. You have three, and then it's the opposite. The investors has to fit in your idea, in your project, and not the opposite. Like maybe this is the best scenario that you have now. Okay, you don't need to say any names, but can you tell us how is this process like? Do you have some kind of memorandum of understanding, NDA? How does it work, Claudia?
We are still learning. What happened is that to open a startup in Brazil, you have some rules, especially because from our group, three are professors from the university, and one is an employee of the hospital, and then we are four people that work for the Brazilian government. And then to open a startup, we have special rules for the ones that work for the university. And then now we are in a process to, we have a consultant group. We have next week a meeting that they are going to explain to us how we can open the startup being working for the government. After we have the startup, we will be able to talk again with the investors. Because the first thing that they ask is exactly this: do you already have the startup, or are you before this? And we are before this. And then we have to open the startup. But we have to check very well if we are following all the rules that are necessary to that.
Oh, that's great because, as you told, not only in Hospital das Clínicas where we work from University of São Paulo, but we are discussing about the legal the laws about the startups in Brazil. It's not yet done. It's new for everyone. So how, as you said, a public employee can also work in the university, in the public hospital, and have a startup. So I understand what you say. It's really new, and then the lawyers are still talking about that. And of course, the first thing that you have is to open your company so you can negotiate with these other investors, and then. But of course, congratulations, Claudia, for for your great idea. And we have a question here in the chat that Sarah is asking. How long did it take from the first idea to this phase of financial support? How long was it, Claudia?
I think more or less 3 years. Because as we begin the idea in the university, we have first to go to the ethics committee and then begin. And then I think it took 3 years. Then we have the pandemic also to make the things easier. I think it took 3 years. 3 years ago, I submit the project to the university.
Okay. And Claudia, as you told, now we have the pandemic period. Of course, everything gone virtual. Maybe, do you think that it's helped you or not? Like we discuss about a lot about digital health. I believe now we are in the decade of the digital health. It was a kind of proportion. It was a how can I say, a stimuli for you to that, or you don't consider it was relevant for this moment, the digital health?
I think for the development of the prototype, we lost time because we had to do other things in the hospital that were more urgent because of the pandemic. But I think for having time to study about how to be an entrepreneur, how to do the things, I had more time. I was able to dedicate more time to this. But I think for the prototype, it was bad because in the hospital, we were not able to do a lot of things that were not COVID during this time. And then there was a thing that was good, but there was something that was bad. And then I think
Mhm.
more or less, it was not the worst thing, but it was not good.
Okay. Uh, and Claudia, if you can tell us a little more about the regulatory process. We know here in Brazil we have the LGDP, the protection of data. Did you go for that or not yet? Did you study that, the protection of the data, how you can use the patient, and how did you do that for the validation, for example?
Yeah, what is interesting for us, because as researcher, we are very used to protect the data from the patient.
Mhm.
And then from the beginning, we have all the things with the identification. All the images that we send to do the segmentation, they don't have name, they don't have age, they don't have the equipment in which was done the exam. We don't have any information. They already have a number of the
Mhm.
research. And then this was a very good advantage for LGPD, because they say exactly like that. You cannot have any information that allows you to recognize the patient or the person about you with that had the examination. And then it was very easy, because we really follow the rules to kept everything secret, everything without any possibility to be identified.
Oh, great. Yes, because as you said, we in university, in academy, we are used to clinical trials and research, and we have the consent forms, for example. So every time when you go for the patient and you propose something different, the patient can sign. Of course, if you cannot identify, sometimes it's not necessary, but you need another document. So it's everything has a pathway. You have to go for the committee, scientific committee, ethics committee, and you have all the approvals. In my fields of knowledge, it's more about bioengineering. We now we have Anvisa also. So for us to approve a project in humans for cell therapy, we have also to go for Anvisa. And then they check if it's everything is about good manufacturing practice, if the products and the labs are approved for human usage. So we can understand why research to go to practice is sometimes expensive. Okay, but thinking about your project now, okay, you have the software. Uh, who do you imagine, as you said, is going to use? Do you believe it will be the public system? Will be small clinics, or maybe who will buy your software, your program? Will be Siemens? Will be like the machine companies, Claudia?
This is interesting, because I think I changed a lot when we were studying the market and studying how to do the business model. I changed my mind a lot, because in the beginning I thought a big company was going to buy it and put on their equipment, and that was it. But then everybody said, no, but you can sell to each clinic or hospital that has the equipment and charge for equipment. Uh, and then I said, yeah, that's true. And also we try to make the research about the differences in the public and private system. In Brazil, the public system usually does not have the doctor on the clinic, on the hospital, while they are doing the mammography. And a friend of mine, she was very kind to send some images that she had to read. And she said, I cannot read this examination because they were so badly done. They couldn't even see the whole breast. And then how you can say there is no cancer if you cannot see the whole breast? And I think the public will be the best beneficiary, but I think, as we know, to sell anything to the public system is much more difficult. And I think it's going to be easier to sell to the private. And for the private, it's good also, because if the technician can solve the position at least, he will call the doctor only if he sees some lesion that he needs some help to do magnification or other incidents because of a lesion and not because of the position. And then the doctor will not need to check every exam for position and for a lesion. He will check only if there is a lesion. It's time consuming to be rechecking everything. And then the doctor will have more time to read the exam and not to be checking quality control.
Yeah, that's perfect. Exactly. Like the proposal of your project, not here you are talking about the problem, not the technology to solve the problem. And maybe this is what is important in innovation. So the problem is that if it's malpositioned, then even the doctor could not read that exam and to understand what's there. So your problem was very well studied. Then you put some solution, some technological solution on that. Great. Claudia, you told about the process of learning, that it was a lot of things were new for you. And what do you think about that journey that you are going on? What do you suggest that you could have more information or focus more? What do you suggest that is an important part of the program to learn more? Maybe a deficiency of the program.
No, I think just if I was going to give a suggestion for someone that's beginning, I think the main thing is try to understand if your solution is for a problem that really exists. Because sometimes we want to give solutions for problems that we think they exist. And if you go to the markets, nobody cares because there are something else that it's enough and you don't have really the need of a solution. And I think this was a point that was very important when we began to do the research, we asked the technicians, the patients, and then we went to the owners of the clinics, to other radiologists that were not owner of anything. And we began to ask them, what do you think about this problem? Do you have this problem? How do you deal with this? And then we went also for the people that do the economic, I cannot remember the word, take care of the economy of these clinics. Mm-hmm. And we also asked them, do you think this is a problem? And that, okay, it is, because we lose money, we lose the slot. And for the patients, they complain a lot. I had this experience when we live in the US on 2013, and I need to do my mammography, the ear mammography. And I went there to a clinic from the university, and then I did my mammography. Then 2 days later, I received 4 messages, one in my email, one at home, and one SMS, and one call that, oh, you need to come back because your exam has a problem and we need to repeat it. My mother had breast cancer, and then can you imagine? I was like desperate. I said, "Oh my, now I have breast cancer too." And they said, "Oh, no problem. You are going to repeat the exam on the cancer hospital." I said, "Oh no." And then I went very stressful. We don't know the doctors over there. And then I was quiet and I went there like really like a patient, not a doctor. And I knew how bad was this, and it was my opportunity to feel the pain of the other patients when they are recalled. And we can understand very clearly for the doctor, if you are the whole time you are reading exam, the whole time they are interrupting you. Can you check if this is okay? It's better if he can read the whole exam peacefully. And for the clinics, and it's obvious that they lose money. And then I think this is the main important thing, to understand the problem. If you have the problem, then you begin to work on the problem, to develop your prototype, and also to study the market, see how is the best to sell your product. And then you can begin to see how you're going to do like the legal part, how to develop the legal part, how you have to be following the LGPD, and then you follow the other stages of the development. But I think the main thing is to be sure about your problem.
Great, great. You said a lot of important things, Claudia. Let me try to make a resume here. Like it's of course innovation in healthcare is completely different because you have all these regulatory process, intellectual properties, everything else. And it's really interesting that you said that you were a persona, you were someone that used the system, and then you describe it just like a live experience. So that
Yeah.
it's perfect for you when you are presenting your pitch, your project to someone else that sometimes does not understand about the techniques about that, about how you do your artificial intelligence, what's the algorithm, what's the big data. But it's really cool because with your example of persona, it's not only your opinion, as you said. You had to go to the markets, you had to study all the stakeholders, not only the doctor, but the technician, who will pay the bill, everyone, to understand if your product should be fine for the markets, or if there is space for your products or software to the market. Claudia, if you can tell us a little more about that experience of the patient. Did you imagine how the patient could arrive there? How was the journey of that patient during your during the how can I say? I'm sorry. How could you imagine that experience of the patient as you had using your product, for example?
Yeah. Because when for the women, we have to do in Brazil, they suggest that you do after 40 years, every year, the mammography. And then every year, we have to go there and do a very unpleasant exam, because they have to compress the breast and it's very painful. And you go to check if you have a cancer, and then it's not very nice. And you have to go every year. And then you have to convince yourself, okay, I have to go. It's important. I'm going. There is no problem. The exam is going to be fast if it's going to be painful. And then you do the exam. And you have two kinds of recalls. One is that it's malposition, and this is the one that we can solve. If you don't have to go back because the exam is not well positioned, it's good. But you have another recall that sometimes there is not a doctor on the service that you are doing the exam that is going to check each exam, and you can have a lesion that needs other images to make the lesion more conspicuous, or more you can see more characteristics of the lesion to define if there's the characteristics are benign or malignant. And then for this, our solution does not solve. Our solution is not a diagnostic tool, it's only a quality control. And they say that at least 30% of the patients of a service in general, they are recalled. It's a lot. And then from this, they think 1/3 more or less. And then 10% of the recalls are only technical problems. If you solve the technical problems, at least 10% of your patients will do the exam. They will come only once. They will not have to come back another day to repeat the exam. On the same day, on the same moment, they do the exam. If it's not good, they repeat and they can go home. It helps a lot.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And one thing that that's interesting also, that we think about the patient's experience, but we can think about all the experiences, the doctor experience, the parents or the relatives experience, because everyone will go into a hospital and will have to share something, to stay there. So of course now the good hospitals are discussing much more about that patient experience, and sometimes that's interesting. Like Mayo Clinic, they have a very competent clinical staff, but they were not well evaluated from the patients because they did everything correct, but they were not doing so well at this experience. And now, okay, they are going fine. So it's very important for us because that's it. Sometimes someone didn't smile for you or something like that, and you don't have a good impression. You have a bad impression of that hospital or service.
Yeah,
Okay.
but on the other hand, for women, sometimes we have to do the mammography, we have to stand up. And it's why I put Regina, she was on a wheelchair, because the women has to be stand up to do the exam. And sometimes the women cannot be a lot enough time to be stand up to the exam, and then you need to put someone from the family to go together to help during the exam, to hold the patient or call and someone from the some nurse, or to help the patient to be stand up to do the exam. And for this patient, it's so difficult to do the exam. Can you imagine to go back another day to repeat it? And usually those patients are the ones that have more problem with the position.
No, that's great. Another very important thing that you said in health innovation is to put the patient in the center. Because sometimes I don't know why, but the patient is not in the center of the problem. So you start to think about numbers, about processes, but maybe the patient will not have the benefit of that intervention. And in design for the health, of course, we try to put the patients in the center. It's very nice, like your speech about the wheelchair, for example. And Claudia, for the people that are listen to us here, what are your advices for them who have a project they wanna do, a kind of entrepreneur, and what would you say for that people that are just starting and they are just right now thinking about how to develop something that are on their mind? What are your advices?
Yeah, I think first advice is the one that I said, to check if there is the pain on the market. And I think the second one is that to try to test your prototype more than once, because you need to be able to give a good product too. If not, you are going to spend a lot of time in something that's not going to work in the end. And then if during the stages that you are doing the things, you have to check many times to see if it's going to work or not. Because sometimes we have an idea, but when you see the accuracy is not good or it's not working very well, and then you had a lot of time working on this, and if you had like in the middle checked it very well, said no, it's a good idea, but it's not going to work for the patients, or it's not going to work for the technician, or it's going to be too expensive. And then you have to check the whole time if your prototype is really viable. Is the thing that you teach on the course of the minimal viable product. You have to see if really it exists and it's going to be good. If not, it's better to try something else, because if not, you are going to put a lot of energy and it's going to be very frustrating. And then I think this is
Yeah.
important too.
Yes, as you said, sometimes you have to pivot, you have to change, then start again. And and move like 180 degrees and then think different. Of course, it should be good if you do that in the beginning. Did you have to do something like that? You have to come back and then do again, as you said, when you validate in the market or with your colleagues, it's the best option. But what was your experience with that?
Yeah.
Like
What
a
happened in
clinical case?
our product is that, okay, we are going to do something that's going to give the technician the information. And one day the physics asked, okay, but how is it going to give? Are you going to put a computer on each, can you imagine, in each room? Are you going to put an iPad to give this information? Or what are you going to do? And I said, and he checked how the images went out from the mammography and what we could do with this. And I said, if we are going to put another computer, another iPad, you're going to make the thing more expensive. And maybe it's not going to be worth, it's going to be too expensive. And then he had this idea, no, we have to put directly on the packs to see if it's going to the system that already exists, and then we will have a more interesting product. And something that in the beginning we didn't know, it was okay. The mammographer was going to say it's good or it's bad, but we haven't thought about. And I think this is important because if we couldn't find a solution for this, maybe we were not able to continue with the project. Because how are you going to put another computer in each room? It's not.
Yes, of course.
Viable.
And then you have to how can I say, concatenate the computers, or the systems have to understand each other, and it's not so easy. You have to talk with the company of that product, of fax, for example, and if it accepts another software, another program. For us that are from the assistants, sometimes we don't know these problems, and then of course you need the technical, the engineering, the programmer to talk for.
And I think even the programs and the engineers, they didn't know the equipment so well. Our physics is a medical physics, and then he works at the hospital, and then he went there, he visited the equipment, and then said, no, something is wrong, it's not going to work on this. And then he thought, you can give this information to the cloud, and then give back from the cloud to the system. You don't need to go inside the packs or inside the equipment, because if you do that, you have to pay for the equipment or for the packs. And then we thought about to have another idea, to have another option. But in the beginning, we didn't thought about this.
Great. Well, Claudia, we are getting to the end of our activity here. I think it was really amazing to have your comments about that process. It was in the end of the last year that you did this first course. Then you went to Incube. It's for the employees of Hospital das Clínicas. It's a very interesting program from innovation, from
Now they are
Inova
open for people from outside too.
That's very amazing. Of course, we need a lot of help for the others to go for the projects and to use in the good way the Hospital das Clínicas, the hospital, to test the product. So I believe University of São Paulo and the School of Medicine are very aligned in innovation right now. We do assistance, we do research, we do teaching, but also innovation right now. And I believe we are in the right in the right way. And I'm very happy with you, Claudia, because you were the first in my experience here at this program that I could see that you succeed in your expectations. And I hope that this experience that you are sharing with us can stimulate, can bring more people to go for health innovation, because I believe now it's a kind of necessity or obligation. It's not more optional. If you don't use innovation tools, you cannot go further, in my opinion. Like it's different now.
But
And I
you
would like to,
have
yeah,
fear of fail, because fail is part of the game. You can fail. There is no, we don't know, for example, if not, we are going really to succeed in the end. We have to be conscious that maybe we are going to fail, but we have been learning a lot.
yeah. And we have to like the process, not the end. Sometimes you don't find the end, but if you are enjoying the process, that's fine. It's good for you. You teach, you learn, and you make good friends, and you talk about what you enjoy. I believe that's the spirit. Claudia, so I would like to ask you to give us some final thoughts, final comments for us, so to finish that activity today, Claudia.
Yeah, final comments. Now, I think as I told you, we that work on the health, we need to prepare ourselves for the innovation. We need to understand much more like the terminology that they use, to understand the concepts that about market, about the minimal viable product, about the prototype, about the stages of the development. And I think the most important thing is this: you have to know that maybe you are going to put a lot of effort, and we are going to fail. There is no way to know. But if we don't try, we will not be able to succeed too. And then we have to try. It's part of the game. No way.
Yeah, fantastic, Claudia. So I just want to thank you very much for this
For the
opportunity. Our objective here is to have a kind of community that we can discuss the projects that we were part of it in some time. Then we see, like in 1 year, I would love to hear from you again what you are doing about the contracts that you have, who you are working with, and what you are proposing, the next steps and the next innovations. Well, thank you very, very much, Claudia. It was
Thank you
a
for
really pleasure
the
to talk with you today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for
Okay,
the invitation. Bye.
so have a good night for everyone, and then we will share with you more lives, more activities to share this knowledge. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye bye. Have a good night.